So, ladies and gentlemen, the case of Silento has officially come to an end, and it's a very sad but predictable ending. He's been sentenced to 30 years in regards to a shooting that happened in 2021, where apparently Silento shot his cousin. I'm not sure exactly what was the reason or what was the story behind him shooting his cousin, but either way, his cousin died in that moment. And as of right now, Silento has been taken into custody of DeKalb County Police, and he's going to be in jail. He pled guilty to several charges, mainly manslaughter. So because of that, he's apparently, according to ABC News, he'll be eligible for parole in about a decade, more or less. Now, he mentioned him and his publicist, like throughout the trial, there was mention of him having mental health issues, which I'm gonna get to later in the video. But for the people that don't remember Silento, either because they're too young or too old, Silento was somebody who blew up in the early 2010s, around like 2013, 2014, because of the Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nae Nae song, which at this time, this is at a time when Vine was still at its peak in popularity. So a lot of people were just looking for excuses to dance. It's commonplace now, but at that time, it was still like an emerging culture within the internet of people trying to jump on the trends of certain dances. And Silento jumped on the trend of doing the whip and the Nae Nae dance, two different dances that was really popular at the time that many people used to do together. And he took full advantage of it. He made a very catchy party, kid-friendly, kids bop, Nickelodeon type of dance song, which worked very well. I remember this vividly because I was still in high school at the time. He was on top of the world essentially. Like, that song was a monster hit in the early 2010s. It was a very big deal. After that, after that song kind of came and went, Silento did not do a whole lot. Like, he still was doing his thing, but like as far as keeping the attention of the mainstream audience, which is very difficult regardless of who you are, he kind of fell off, so to speak, which in this day and age, I don't think falling off is the same as falling off back in like 1991 or whatever, but still, he fell off nonetheless. He's had other legal issues over the years. For example, getting caught up in the United Arab Emirates for allegedly not performing at a show that he was paid about more or less 80K to perform at, which, I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but either way, he's dealt with that. Also, domestic violence charges. He's also, according to his publicist, has dealt with many major mental health struggles over the years. There's reports saying that he may have tried to commit suicide back in 2020 during the peak of the pandemic when many people were staying inside. And as we all know, like that old saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So maybe he was in that type of situation where his demons started to get to him. He also years ago had appeared on one of those like TV shows that goes a lot in, I believe it was called The Doctors or something like that, where apparently, according to him, he's saying he was born with drugs in his system, which that's obviously a very sad thing to hear anybody say happened to them, that they pretty much came right out the gate on drugs technically because of mistakes that their parents foolishly made. But either way, this shooting happened around 2021, and now the case has come to an end. He's going to jail for the next 30 years. This is another example of a kid celebrity, whether you see kid actors or kid musicians, things just going left for them in the later part of their careers. And it's very sad to see, because even though realistically he was never really gonna regain that attention that he had back when he was still a teenager and he was at the peak of his popularity, it's still something you don't want to see. Just like I'm sure his cousin, who he apparently may have killed, I'm sure the family members didn't want to see that person be murdered. And it's a sad case to see. Right now he's about roughly 27 years old, so he'll be eligible for paroles when he's like close to like 40. And if not, if he doesn't get out, he'll probably just be in jail till he's in his late 50s, which definitely sad to see. I'm sure whatever caused the shooting to happen, I don't know if it was like an accident. I don't know what was the story behind it. But at the same time, I'm sure whatever the story was, it definitely wasn't worth it, because now you're talking about, like, if he had any hope of trying to make a comeback, I mean the moment that this incident happened 4 years ago, that completely just threw that out the window. But either way, let me know what your thoughts are on this situation. Do you believe that Silento is truly mentally ill? And also, have you listened to him recently? And do you remember the era of Vine and all this other stuff when he blew up in the first place?